I have discussed about TAM model. Have you remember TAM model and diffusion of innovation, about which I have discussed in one class, right? Privacy huh, and censorship, about which we have discussed. And I have also taken one class on privacy and right to education as a part of Gyan lecture. Huh. And then um I have also I could remember that I have discussed about digital journalism, right? Digital journalism and citizen journalism in one class about computer assisted reporting, if you could remember. So those are important. Okay, and in Monday actually I thought of taking a class on AI. But the thing is that quickly I need to prepare your interim question paper. So I have made the framework. So if possible, again we have a Monday. So I'll put that question, but today I'm not going to discuss about AI because there are some other important aspect of new media uses, which is very important. Uh, belongs to the very fourth unit. Okay, so you see that you have heard about online activism, right? So what is that online activism? It is important. And I have shared one lecture with you. And if you have gone through that lecture, I have already shared a lecture on online activism. What is online activism and how online activism is different from offline activism. Yeah. Now you see that when you say activism, activism is basically um, activism is basically social action, tries to bring in social change and political change, right? And bringing transformation and to give voice to the voiceless and include the marginalized to the society, right? So now you see that in social action there are certain aspects which are very important, like in its social actions, or we say the social movement, say, and social movement can be online or offline. Or why we call it social action? Because it tries to make people understand the power inequities and differences in power in the societies. Okay, making people realize that there are power inequities in the societies, and hence people should be mobilized, and people can mobilize themselves to take some action and bring in change, and hence it is related to social action. I will say when we talk about activism, activism is also related to social action because it is also a movement. We call it movement, social movement. Now we call it online movement. But when you say online social movement, actually it doesn't have a very structured form, right? So online activism doesn't have a very structured form. It uses all the methods, all the strategies, all the available resources offline. Simply, it expands the social base of that movement or activism. So it will not alter the movement altogether. But you see, in 1994, we have first online social movement. You might say that internet is used to create social action against that yeah against the Mexico government by Zapatista rebellious group. Zapatista, there is also a community. Um, they were very much oppressed, and they tried to bring in certain action against the government, and the middle class and upper middle class used that internet to create an alliance among themselves. But the lower class of this Zapatista movement and those who are actually the sufferers, they did not use the internet because till then the penetration and this proliferation of internet was not that widespread. So in 1994, we get to see the first use of internet for online activism during Zapatista rebellion, and thereafter we get to see in 1997, internet was used against this World Trade Organization's decision on multilateral agreement on investment, and there was a massive, movement against that multilateral agreement on investment (MAI). That documents have been leaked internet, and that has actually created lot of furor across the net, and many websites were being created, many alliances and collectives were also being formed, and that too online email were being sent. Okay, then discussion group, discussion forums were being formed. List servers, earlier mode of communication, list server were being also formed, through which they try to create some sensation against the multilateral agreement on investment. Then thereafter, we get to see that on many occasions, like we have that Black Matter Life. You have heard about it. Then Me Too movement, Me Too campaign is also another campaign. You talk about this ice bucket challenge. These are some of the online activism or online social movement. But the thing is that the movement is not structured as compared to offline movement. And if you look into the resources, the same kind of resources is being used in online movement. We also have the people, we have an agenda to set, okay? But the thing is that effects in online and offline activism will be different. Okay, so in online activism, we get to see that effects may be negative also, because it might also take different kind of forms. Online activism could also be named as hacktivism, slacktivism, or sharing of, you see, memes and then different videos to influence a cause. Okay, so you see, hacktivism is also one form of online activism when the group of people they bypass the source code of the computers and take out this information. Okay, that is also another form of, you say, that online activism. Even the trolling, cyber trolling, that is also part of online activism. It is named trolling because they go to the extent to troll the targeted that institutions, whom they actually try to change or try to destroy or try to convince to make certain decision. So they troll it, and that may be an institution, that may be an individual also. So when you talk about this cyberbullying and the trolling, that is also part of online activism. So the effects of online activism is negative, you know, unlike the effects of offline activism. Okay, now you see that in activism we have certain aspect, like in each and every activism, in each and every social action, we have a cause. That cause to help the society, help the people. It also involve a helping cause, or it might also involve a protecting cause. It might also involve a revolutionary cause. So when you talk about a helping cause, most of the activism or movement or a social action is driven towards helping the marginalized sections or the victim who actually seek help. So helping cause is there. Then you have the protecting cause. Many times you try to protect the victim, and also along with the protecting cause, you also see you try to protect the victim from the offending institution. That is also, you see, another cause. And then you can try to change the institution, targeted institution, to provide some protection to the victim. So that is protecting cause. And then you also have the revolutionary cause. So when you actually overthrow the whole existing mechanism, so that is there. So you actually stop, suppose in Narmada Bachao Andolan. So that Andolan carried out for like in that 10, 20 years. So what happened at the end? So you actually see that World Bank has stopped funding the project Narmada Bachao. So that is actually a movement. Yeah. So 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 you see that we have that cause, then we have the change agent. Who is the change agent? So you may be the change agent who is trying to bring the change. An individual can be the change agent, an NGO can be the change agent, and alliance can be any alliance group of two, three NGOs, two, three association can be also the change agent. Since target will be the government, a private body, who is involved in taking the decision. Then we have the channel. Channels are those through which we usually see the information is being transmitted. Hmm. Various mass media which are being used during the movement are channels only. Even online is usually used as a channel. So online activism will not alter the whole activism or movement. It will expand the activism. Now, so, or many a time online can also destroy the actual cause and goal of the activism. So, effects of online activism can also be highly negative, just because, as we have seen, that it depends upon, you see, that cliques, then that cyber trolling, cyber bullying, that hacktivism. So, effects are always being negative. And then we actually have that same strategy. So certain strategies are being taken through which you can bring in change in the society. Okay. So when we talk about those very aspect of you see um, social movement, social action, or even you say activism, uh, then it is also very important to understand what makes activism different from another kind of state than we actually see mobilization, a simple mobilization. So, activism is not a simple mobilization, but it involves mobilization of the people, but definitely it involves the human rights issues. So, most of the activism will involve a mobilization of the people, and that too involve protection of human rights. Okay, and then we see that it involves certain strategies. You might have heard about this mass advocacy, interest advocacy, lobby advocacy. So these are some of the advocacy um, which are there already. Mass advocacy is there. There is a mass demonstration carried out. You see rally marches carried out to pull attention of the people. So that is a kind of mass advocacy which is there. Okay, so that is mass advocacy. Demonstration is a mass advocacy. Then we talk about this interest advocacy or interest group advocacy, lobby advocacy is there. When there are like-minded interest groups in the civil society. Now you see when it's a like-minded interest group in a civil society, you need to know what is civil society. Civil society basically is where exist between the state and private bodies. So it is also a realm of freedom, realm of choice, and realm of responsibilities. Okay. So in civil societies, you get to see all those networks, all those organizations, all those associations, okay, which will work for the betterment of the communities. They will also stand as a watchdog of the action of the government. Okay, they will scrutinize the government actions, making government uh, highly accountable to the public. And this is also a realm where individual can express their passions, express their ideas, express their interest, express informations, etc. So we talk about those network, we talk about those organizations in civil society, right? So here in civil society, we have numerous associations, and each association, each organization have particular interest to articulate, right? And they do articulate those interests. So when organization, network of organization articulate their interests, it also creates a pressure on the government to bring in change on any policies. Okay, and that is lead to interest advocacy. Okay, so we have that mass advocacy, interest group advocacy, or you might also see this is called lobby advocacy. And then we have legislative advocacy. This actually happens in state legislation. Through parliament, you bring in change in existing law. And also you see there is a civil disobedience. That is also another kind of method. When law is abusive, so then people will not follow the law, huh, and demand amendment to the law. Okay, and also no non-cooperation. Certain methods are there as a non-cooperation. Hmm. And those methods of non-cooperation are like hartal, boycott, etc. are there. Hmm. And various kind of body intervention is also there. You go and lie in front of a car, so that is also mm, with the pursuit of putting government under pressure or putting the change target under pressure. Okay, so that kind of, you see, actions are being taken, and hence it is called social actions, and it has created a movement, hmm, through mobilization of the people over a period of time. It actually uh, try to analyze the cause, bring in people, okay, and bring in change in the society. Now you see, there are also direct actions. Certain methods of direct actions are always criticized. When you see, uh, like we see this bodily intervention, bodily interaction. People are nowadays people also tattoo in their body. That is also a kind of many a time. You see, this is a kind of resistance against some resistance against the authority. Many people say that resistance against certain norms, which is derogatory, so they usually tattoo. Huh. That is also said, and they also torture their heads. Hmm. So you get to see like that way. There are different ways to you see put pressure on the government. Okay, now you see that when we talk about online activism, hardly those very actions could be replicated on street. Because here it is a matter of click only. It is clicktivism because we simply click an agenda which is circulated into Facebook. So you can talk about e-petition nowadays. PIL, public interest litigation, is there, from which we are trying to bring court near to the victims, near to the marginalized people. We can also submit the e-petition. Huh. And within a matter of like in a second, we can actually create a movement and create an activism. But you see, the way it has come up with that force, no, with the force it has come, with the same force it has also died down. So it will not last long. It will not last for long. So, hence, you see that when you talk about the online activism, we can relate one term. This is called SPIN, segmented, polycentric, ideologically integrated network. That is called SPIN, SPIN, segmented, polycentric, ideologically integrated network. That happens among the weak ties. Weak ties in the sense those who are not in face-to-face relationship, those who are not in our immediate relationship. Okay, those who are not known to us. Okay, so weak ties are those who are strangers at times. Hmm. Who are strangers for us, but we um, try to convince them. We also get their support, and it doesn't need any money. It only needs that ideological support. But many a time that ideology also fragmented. Hmm. And polycentric, hmm, irrespective of caste, class, you see, ethnicity, everybody can join. So that is one favorable aspect of this online activism. So when you talk about the scheme, so you see this ideologically, that is fragmented, polycentric, ideologically integrated network. So it doesn't need any money, only that ideological integration is there. But it doesn't have that capacity to make any kind of activism stay longer and also make it a real one. Okay, so uh, what will be important for you now is to find out some of the online movement, like you read about Me Too movement, all of you know. It started in 2006, then in 2018 and 2018, that Tanuja, that film star, uh, that also raised a claim against it. So, and then again, we get to see hashtag Me Too. And we also have Lahu Kalagan, another Lahu Kalagan, to make the sanitary napkin tax free. That is also another. Arab Spring is also another movement against the oppressive government. Right. Then Black Lives Matters against the racism and police violence uh, on black people. So, like that way, you see, there are numerous online activism. Ice bucket challenge is also there. Okay, to raise awareness about one disease. Hmm? So, like that way, there are numerous, you see, online activism, numerous examples of online activism. So, you read some of the examples, so it will be helpful for you. Okay, so, and I have taken one more class regarding this, and in the last class, I think I have posted a few classes which are taken and recorded last year in the group. Uh, so you go through it, at least you get some content, and I also share some PDF with you if you require. Uh, and then you see what is important is. Okay, sorry. मैम टॉपिक्स डाल रहे हैं, कैसे कौन कौन से टॉपिक आ सकते हैं फिल्म में? अच्छा अच्छा, हाँ, ये जो हम लोगों ने सारा before midterm, no? So we have discussed about social media, right? Social media theories and all. So that is important because I did not set any question on social media theories. We have discussed about agenda setting. I also did not set any question. So you read about agenda setting theory. You read about social media theory, huh? and social engagement or social exposure theory. I have discussed about social exposure theory, right? That is important. The TEM model, I have discussed about TEM model in one class, TEM, technology adoption model, about which I have discussed in a first class after the vacation. So I'll post that recorded video. So TEM model is important. Privacy and censorship is important. Okay, online activism, mm, privacy and censorship is important. Okay, online activism is important, and then in one class you find out I have discussed about uh, the role of internet in democratization. Uh, because there I have actually discussed about, or you might say, digital democracy or role of internet, role of ICT or digital technology in democracy. So there I have discussed about three approaches. One is liberal individualistic approach, another one is communitarian approach, and communitarian, and the last one is deliberative democracy approach. Okay, and in three approaches we get to find how they try to define the uses of internet. Suppose in liberal individualistic approach, it tries to define the uses of internet uh, for the citizens without much intervention from the government. So they don't prefer any kind of superhighway. Okay. So liberal individual is when individual is just self-seeking, aggrandizing mechanism sort of, because they're highly autonomous. They can decide what is good and bad for them, and they want limited state power. So they want internet. Huh. They want technology, but they don't want international that internet superhighway, because when there is an internet superhighway, there will be much more control of the government. Huh. So they actually prefer that their involvement into the government is such that they will discuss about different issues of their daily needs and their you see their everyday concern, that too on internet. Huh. And it has nothing to deal more with the you see uh, that government intervention. Government cannot intervene, whatever their discussion. So you see, in liberal individualistic model, we prefer all those small group communities, where some intense discussion happen. Okay, a network of nurses, network of lawyers, network of doctors. Okay, so their role is not to extend help to the community. Their role is to um, discuss some of their own interest, own concern, or at times use their free time to engage in discussion or socialization. So that is also one kind of democratization process. Okay, and then we have another kind of democratization approach, that is communitarian, where you get to see different existence of like NGOs and two, three networking NGOs, like-minded NGOs, like-minded not only NGOs, associations. They, with the help of internet, try to bring in good to the community. Okay, they discuss various issues of their concern, of the marginalized, of development related issues, and through discussion, they try to bring in the good to the society. And then we have the deliberative democracy. And in deliberative democratic approach, so we actually see that here a list of issues are there which is selected for discussion, which are also day-to-day concern. Hmm. And these issues are thoroughly discussed by the communities online. Huh. So they also try to arrive at a consensus. They criticize one policy. They can also try demanding that alternative policies. Okay, but everything happens through deliberations. So there is no space for trolling, bullying, etc. But there is also equal space for disagreement in that deliberative democracy space. Okay, so like that way, you see that in certain countries, whenever internet is being introduced, authoritarian government has been changed, like in North Korea, in Saudi Arabia, Syria. Authoritarian government with the introduction of internet has been changed. And hence, many a time there is a restriction on the internet in those very countries, and try to limit the democratic process, democratization process. Okay. Um, Hence, we said that you can relate it with, like, how even internet is being used by this government nowadays. So you can look into some of the government site. Okay, you see how Twitter is being used by Narendra Modi, how Facebook page, what is there in the Facebook page, uh, recent post of Narendra Modi, how many likes they have got, who have followed it mostly. Uh, So like that way, so this information, whatever is being uh, put in the Facebook and Twitter page, are part of not basically help you to participate more, but in a way it will also help people to inform themselves about government activities, uh, government ideas. So like that way you can write. Okay, so possible I will come up with other aspect in one more class I will be taking. And then one more thing which is very important about e-government. E-government, when we talk about e-government, this is actually important. Huh? Sorry? Yeah, yeah. And so when you talk about the e-government is a concept. It is called the electronic government, and electronic governance has certain characteristics. Okay, even governance has certain characteristics, you see, and e-governance is also, you see, benefited by swayed by those characteristics. You see, we have the first characteristic is participation, right? So e-governance actually ensure participation from all the people, irrespective of male, female, age. So participation, it wants participation of the people in the governance. Okay, and participation has to be informed and participation has to be organized. Okay, so participation happens to be one characteristics of e-governance. So it actually brings in informed and organized participation of the citizen. Okay, and then second is rule of law. Rule of law is another characteristic of the governance, and the same characteristic is applicable to e-governments also. Rule of law is the law that is legitimate, that making the action of the government legitimate. Okay, then responsiveness. So government is supposed to respond to the needs of the society. So it's very important. Responsiveness is another characteristic. Then we have another characteristic that is called equity or inclusiveness. So when we talk about this equity and inclusiveness, that means that irrespective of you see uh, you have you say that equity means having money and all. So each and everyone is supposed to be included and no one is supposed to be excluded. So everybody should have the equal opportunities that will actually reflect the equity or inclusiveness. Oh, then you also have this principle called effectiveness and efficiency. That is another characteristics of governance. When you say the effectiveness, effectiveness is creating services to the people who are actually in need of it. So you create certain services for the needy section of the society and delivering the services to the needy section of the society. So that is called effectiveness and providing the service quickly and in efficient manner whenever needed. Then you also see the consensus oriented, that is another characteristics. When you say consensus oriented, that means that e-governance doesn't look for any kind of conflict. Even if there are some kind of conflict, hmm, in transferring services, in delivering the services to the even to the citizens or to even business. So here we actually talk about government to government that service, government to citizen service, government to business service. We usually talk about. So there has to have a consensus in the transfer of the services and also in resource transfer, in terms of opinion, even circulation, there has to have a consensus. So you cannot disregard the opinion of one section of the population over other. Hence, consensus oriented is very, very important, and hence, understanding the historical background, cultural background, economic background of one community and diverse communities within the region is very, very important. Then, accountability. Accountability is also very important characteristics of e-government. So, to making government accountable uh, to the citizen by providing the services mm, at ease. Okay, so we talk about, there are many examples. So we talk about this computerized land record system. Okay, third district, it was first started uh, that internet kiosk has come. Third was a very poor district. There are 1.7 million people. They were concentrated across 100 villages. Okay, and 67% people were poor. And there are also more than 7% people they were not literate. So internet kiosk was established in their district, and it was not funded by international donors. It was not even funded by private bodies. It was not funded by the state. It was funded by local government or local that government organization. So you actually see how village panchayat and local government have mobilized themselves and take care of their resources, own their resources. So internet kiosk has been established, and there is one you see operator who usually distribute all the reports. So different kind of government forms, applications, different service portfolios are made available to the villages. Okay, and there were people, earlier village people, did not want to send their children to school. Now they want to send their children to operator to learn how to operate the kiosk. So in Madhya Pradesh, third, that internet kiosk was started. That was so an example of e-government. And then we see that they usually have a list of 21 complaints. Even it is true which villagers can make a complaint to district magistrate about the non-availability of doctors in that villages, about non-availability of teachers, uh, and about these dilapidated school infrastructures, about that this repairment of this hand pump, about even you see complaint regarding the non-recipient of insurance, complaint not delivering the payment to the farmers. So like that way, there are a list of items which were being registered. So non-delivery of this item uh, could be could lead to a complaint to the district magistrate, and district magistrate will also respond back within 7 days, okay, within a week. So earlier, what happened that if hand pump were also at a distance, at a reasonable distance, but if one hand pump is damaged, they had to go to another 1 2 kilometer to fetch the water. Uh, and after repeated complaint, those hand pumps were not repaired. So after that internet kiosk, they could simply put a application through the operator, and hand pump is that is reinstalled and repaired within a week. Okay, so like that way, you could actually see that services become responsive. We also see there are numerous. That was the very earliest most example. That was success case. And now we talk about we have come a long way, right? We talk about information management system in its universities. We have information management system and all to ensure the transparency. So it has that eight characteristics. One is participation. It ensure participation of the people, making people informed why it is happening, why services are not delivered, why they are being exploited. Okay, making people informed. At the same time, making them organized. It is very important also making them mobilized. To own the resources for themselves. Many times village people do not even know their need. So internet kiosk and all they try to learn their needs. Okay, these are our needs. Okay, so like that way you see that government has also ensured participation. It has created transparency of the services. huh? It has established the rule of law. It has made government highly responsive, right? It is also built on that consensus oriented. So there is no dispute between the villagers, even if the service is not delivered, because there is also a deadline. Within the deadline, service will be definitely delivered, like that. Okay. So that was earliest most example. And Karnataka land revenue system, that is one of the earliest most example of the e-government when the land record was computerized from an informal, that is paper-based system to a formal, transparent, regulated system. Hmm. So there are earlier 9,000, 10,000 accountants were there who were to be bribed for getting the information. And many a time paper were also torn. And then record were illegible. It cannot be read. So to make it legible, need to pay that accountant. So when it is computerized, so within a penny, you give them the money which you deserve, and you can get the record. So one person he is there to distribute, but at the same time it does lead to de-skilling because earlier 9,000, 10,000 people were there. Uh, they were holding the record. Now in one district there is only one person and one computer. So that is one thing. So like that way, there are numerous cases of e-governments, and in a way, you see that it has created that social capital at macro level, at meso level, and micro level. We have already discussed about this tree level. So when you talk about this micro level, that is what is your personal network, right? Meso level is extended personal network, means civil society organization, village group, that women club. You talk about um, uh, a youth club, okay, SHGs, NGOs. So these are meso level network. Uh, and then we have macro level network. Macro level network, so there is government and citizen can directly bypass the meso like level and talk to like micro level network. Micro is there, micro level, at micro level we have government and all. So they can discuss their problem with the, but they cannot discuss their problem with the government. There are different forms which are made available. But yeah, to a certain extent, we see that things are getting better. So there are numerous examples are there. So you try to find out and read those uh, posted videos, so you get to learn more. Okay. Yeah. Anything else?